The next item I will cover is emergency landings. The first emergency landing I will cover is the tree landing. If you are drifting towards the trees, immediately look and then slip away. If you cannot avoid the trees and have lowered your equipment, look below you to ensure there are no fellow jumpers and jettison your equipment, making a mental note of where it lands. If you have not lowered your equipment, keep it on you to provide extra protection while passing through the trees. At approximately 200 feet AGL, assume a good landing attitude by keeping your feet and knees together, knees slightly bent and chin on your chest. When you make contact with the trees, rotate your hands in front of your face with your elbows high. Be prepared to execute a proper PLF if you pass through the trees. If you get hung up in the trees and you do not feel you can safely lower yourself to the ground, stay where you are and wait for assistance. If you decide to climb down, jettison all unneeded equipment. Ensure that you maintain your helmet. Activate your quick release in your waistband. With either hand, apply inward pressure on the ripcord assembly. With the opposite hand, remove the top tuck tab. Maintain steady inward pressure, and with the opposite hand, insert it behind the ripcord assembly and apply inward pressure. Grasp the ripcord handle with the opposite hand, pull it and drop it. With both hands, control the activation of the reserve parachute to the ground, ensuring that all suspension lines and risers are completely deployed. Disconnect the left connector snap and rotate the reserve to the right. Attach the left connector snap to the triangle link on your right side. Seat yourself well into the saddle. Activate the quick release in the chest strap and completely remove the chest strap from the chest strap friction adapter. Grasp the right main lift web with either hand below the canopy release assembly, and with the other hand activate the leg strap ejector snaps and climb down the outside of the reserve parachute. Caution must be taken when climbing down the T-11 reserve suspension lines because of the slippery coating applied to the suspension lines. Remember, when in doubt, stay where you are and wait for assistance. The next emergency landing I will cover is the wire landing. If you are drifting towards wires, immediately look and try to slip away. If you cannot avoid the wires, look below you to ensure there are no fellow jumpers and jettison your equipment, making a mental note of where it lands. Ensure that you maintain your helmet. Assume a good landing attitude by keeping your feet and knees together, exaggerating the bend in your knees, eyes open, chin on your chest with your back arched. Place the palms of your hands high on the inside of the front set of risers with the elbows locked. When you make contact with the wires, begin a vigorous rocking motion in attempt to pass through the wires. Be prepared to execute a proper PLF in the event you pass through the wires. If you get hung up in the wires, do not attempt to lower yourself to the ground. Stay where you are and wait for assistance. The next emergency landing I will cover is the water landing. If you are drifting towards a body of water, immediately look, then slip away. If you cannot avoid the water, look below you and ensure there are no fellow jumpers, and lower your equipment. Next, jettison your helmet, making a mental note of where it lands. Activate the quick release in the waistband. Disconnect the left connector snap and rotate the reserve parachute to the right. Seat yourself well into the saddle and activate the quick release in the chest strap, completely removing the chest strap from the chest strap friction adapter. Regain canopy control. Prior to entering the water, assume a good landing attitude by keeping your feet and knees together, knees slightly bent, and place your hands on both leg strap ejector snaps. When the balls of your feet make contact with the water, activate both leg strap ejector snaps, arch your back, throw your arms above your head, and slide out of the parachute harness. Be prepared to execute a proper PLF if the water is shallow. Swim upwind or upstream away from the canopy. If the canopy comes down on top of you, locate a seam and follow it to the skirt of the canopy. The next item I will cover is life preservers. When jumping a life preserver and you are unable to slip away from the water, lower your combat equipment, activate your life preserver, then jettison your combat equipment prior to making contact with the water. Be prepared to execute a proper PLF if the water is shallow. Once in the water, activate both canopy release assemblies. The next item I will cover is night jumps. When conducting night jumps, be sure to give your canopy an extra look. If you have any reason to believe you are falling faster than fellow jumpers, immediately activate your reserve parachute. Maintain noise, discipline, and a good interval between fellow jumpers. Be prepared to conduct a PLF because you will hit the ground approximately 5 to 10 seconds before you think you will. The next item I will cover is Instrument Meteorological Conditions, IMC. When jumping under IMC, do not lower your equipment until you have passed through the clouds. Do not slip unless you have to avoid a collision. If you have any type of malfunction or any reason to believe you are falling faster than fellow jumpers, you must immediately activate your reserve parachute using the pull-drop method because you cannot compare your rate of descent with fellow jumpers. Ensure you recheck your canopy once you pass through the clouds. The final item I will cover is parachute landing falls. We will now move to the PLF platform and conduct one satisfactory PLF in each of the 4 directions.